Miss O'Donnell.
Something the matter with you, Mr. Brinsley?
Need I remind you that there is an extremely important person due here at any minute, and the place is a disaster?
Oh, is that really why you wanted to talk to me?
Blast it, woman. Yes. Now, get up and get back to work.
Oh, I get your game. I understand what's going on in that sweet head of yours. You can't fool me. I've got eyes in the front of my head.
I don't have time for this.
A cheat and a hasty retreat, are ya? Oh, look, I've woken up a lioness. Best run away before I get devoured.
Miss O'Donnell, I see that you have decided to be more inappropriate today than you usually are. However...
Oh, you like that, do ya?
However, this is a place of morals and propriety, and I'll have no more of your shenanigans. Now, for the last time, I am not now, nor ever will be, interested in a dalliance with the likes of you.
You know, I'm hearing words coming out of your mouth, but what I'm really hearing is, let's do some shenanigans.
I am resolutely opposed to shenanigans.
Mr. Brinsley, should I call you by your first name? I don't know what it is.
Good. No one does, not even my mother.
I'll have to make it up. Rumpert.
Rumpert? Try again.
No. It's Rumpert, all right.
Rumpert isn't even a name.
It is now. It'll be our name, Rumpert.
Stop it, you Irish harridan.
It's being strong in the Rumpish region.
I have work to do, and there he is. Remove yourself. There is a man of breeding and decency about to do very important work for our mistress, and he won't want to be assaulted by any of your feminine...
Shenanigans?
Exactly.
Fine.
Welcome, sir, to the Dowling residence. Mrs. Dowling.
Oh, I'm a very famous man!
Oh, of course, sir. If you would care to take a seat, I shall...
I'm here, and I do not sit.
Of course. Why should you? Famous men do not sit. Can I get you something to drink?
Devilish spirits.
Right. Do you mean actual devilish spirits, or...
The kind you drink.
Right, well, that's what I thought you wanted. Still, with your reputation, sir, one can't take too many liberties.
If I require actual demons, I shall let you know.
Right. Let me add, Mr. Poe, that I'm extremely honored that you answered my mistress's letter, and that even though you have a certain reputation for devilishness, we shall do our utmost...
Stop your babbling, or I will have you embalmed.
Yes, of course, absolutely, Mr. Poe.
That's all right. I was hiding. Not that I was hiding, but that I just entered the room. I was not watching you.
You were watching me?
I wasn't. I don't do those sorts of things. My name's Abigail. I'm Mrs. Dowling's granddaughter.
Nice to meet you, and I'm...
Edgar Allan Poe. I know. I love you. I mean, I love your work. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Amazing.
That's wonderful. You can call me Edgar.
I will. I would love to call you anything. When my grandmother told me you were coming to our house, I nearly died. Annabelle Lee. I felt like that was about me.
Yes, thank you.
I know that she's dead in the poem, and, well, I'm not dead, but I think my name is Abigail and her name is Annabelle. I think that's much too close to be coincidence, don't you? Perhaps you were thinking of me after I'm dead. And her last name of Lee is very close to my last name of Dowling. Well, they're not entirely close, but quite close enough for poetry, don't you think?
Yes, I suppose they are.
I knew it. Oh, this is wrong! We shouldn't be doing this.
Do you happen to know where your grandmother is right now?
You're right. She could be here at any moment. Damn this house and its rules!
I'm waiting to talk to her, actually.
I know. But in the meantime...
In the meantime, I'm going to sit down.
I Excellent. I still can't believe you're here. It must be so different for you, being you, you're wherever you always are.
I'm sorry?
I'll just walk over here then.
Good.
I am unprotected, by the way.
What?
I'll have you know that I'm a very virtuous young woman, and yet...
I am only here to see your grandmother.
Of course. You have to keep up appearances. But I know who you really are.
You do?
You're a dangerous, dangerous man. You're a prey to violent fantasies and sinister desires. I've read your work. In fact, I am in mortal danger right now from your ravenous appetites. At any moment you might grab me. And what can I do to resist? Perhaps I might not even resist.
Tart! Not right now.
Perhaps later then.
No, thank you. I'm happily widowed.
Would you care for something, miss?
I would, Brinsley. Thank you for entering at that exact moment.
I have a knack for it.
Might I inquire as to when Mrs. Dowling will be seeing me?
When she is ready. Miss Dowling?
Yes?
I do believe this is meant to be a private conference.
Of course.
Miss Dowling, I must advise you to flee this man's presence as soon as possible. I have only just met him, but I know
I
that...
require a drink, Mr. Brinsley.
Miss, might I...
A drink. Get it.
Of course, miss. Right away. I shall be back as swiftly as I can. I assure you, your virtue will be safe.
Well,
Quick! We haven't much time. When you're finished, meet me in the closet.
you must have me
We
confused.
can't do it openly, Mr. Poe. My fiancé will be here shortly.
What?
I'm back! What have you done with Miss Abigail?
What I have done is no concern to you, mortal. She is safe. For now.
Sir, though you may be a giant of literature, if you have...
I heard someone...
Oh, hello.
What is it?
Introduce me.
What?
Introduce me, maggot!
Well, this is Miss Sarah Dowling, and this is Mr. Edgar Allan Poe.
Edgar Allan Poe.
Yes, that is who I am, Edgar Allan Poe. It is nice to meet you for the first time.
It is nice to meet you for the first time. I'm a little surprised to see you today.
I am a mystery.
Brinsley!
Excuse me.
What in God's name are you? Get a grip on yourself, Richard!
I understand this is a terribly good plan, but
Edgar Allan Poe?
she's on an opium binge. She won't be awake for 3 days, but I need to say to you.
This is insane. They're going to find out.
Not at all. They've only seen his likeness in the papers. But please, I wanted to say...
And what is that thing on your face?
Horsehair. Terribly itchy. I think I'm beginning to develop an allergy. But please, I needed to say...
I'm pleased to introduce Miss Robert Helena Dowling.
This is him.
It is?
Yes, it is me, Edgar Allan Poe, the famous poet and short story writer and novelist.
No.
I was only testing you.
You are not quite what I expected.
Really, well, the portrait in the paper doesn't really do me
If you
justice.
wish to speak, Mr. Poe, quit mumbling.
I'm afraid Miss Dowling's ears are not quite what they once
I
were.
heard that, Brinsley. I have no difficulty hearing. The rest of you have a problem speaking.
Of course, you are correct.
Let us sit.
Unfortunately, Mr. Poe does not believe
I will sit now.
We'll get to it. I don't have time to waste on this nonsense.
Well, I received your
What?
letter. I am most intrigued by your offer.
Why are you shouting at me? Brinsley,
Yes, madam?
is there something wrong with him?
Quite a few things, actually. Opium, an unquenchable desire for female flesh, that sort of thing. But I will try to keep those things under wraps.
You will indeed.
And yet, I am brilliant. I'm a brilliant poet. You said so in your letter. Perhaps my appetites have fueled my literary success. Who can say? Perhaps if I were a mild-mannered fellow, I would not be quite as great as I am.
I didn't catch any of that.
Mr. Poe said he was a great poet and was particularly amazed by his own humility.
And what are you doing here?
I am fascinated with this character.
I am fascinated that you remain a spinster at age 32. It's just not natural. Since you have a pleasing enough shape and face, I can only assume the fault lies in your personality.
I am an independent woman, Aunt Helena, like you.
I earned my independence through 29 years of marriage. You've suffered through no such ordeal. It's cheating!
If I may, I believe her personality to be quite charming.
You just met her.
I'm a quick judge, part of my brilliance.
You are also fascinated with spiders, madmen, and poisons. No wonder you find her appealing. But I didn't bring you here to quip about my niece. I brought you here because I think you're a damn fine poet.
Yes.
Did I stop speaking? I am an old woman, Mr. Poe. Death is approaching. Therefore, I shall do the talking. I quite enjoyed that bird poem of yours.
The Raven.
Yes, I'm glad you remembered its name. You only mentioned it 30 or 40 times in the text. Repetition aside, it was good.
I agree.
Quoth the Raven nevermore.
Yes.
I also happen to know that no matter how popular the bird is, you haven't made much of a living from it. How much did you make off it?
I don't really wish to go into my affairs.
$9?
Really? Why the hell am I writing poetry then?
Don't you know how much money you've made from it?
I am not concerned with worldly things. I am more concerned with the various spirits who dance in the midnight.
I give that to Brinsley as a Christmas bonus, by the way.
Actually, I don't believe I received that this year.
And he's responsible for cleaning horse crap off the front stoop.
Why do you bring this
What?
up? Why do
I heard you. I wish to hire you.
Very well. Though I would rather be cavorting with the shadowy underworld. I shall undertake the tutoring of your niece in the hopes of making her attractive to the opposite sex.
I am already attractive to the opposite sex. I am engaged.
What?
Why would I hire you to teach Sarah? She's hopeless.
Well then, your granddaughter. What? She seems to have some mental difficulties.
What is all this nonsense about teaching? I wish to commission a poem.
Well, I'm afraid the wellspring of my creativity is dry at the moment, but again, if I could teach them, they obviously need instruction.
$100 for one poem.
$100?
$100!
I heard you! I was simply startled by the size of the
Why
offer!
are you shouting at me?
I'm afraid that well, if I... All right, I'll do it. What sort of poem would you like?
A love poem.
Love poem?
A love poem!
Very well. To who would this love poem be directed at?
To me.
He does specialize in the grotesque.
Mr. Poe, I am an old woman. My beauty is gone. However, I do find myself in possession of a vast amount of money. Therefore, you shall render me in a beautiful love poem that will secure my immortality through the ages. Agree?
I believe I can do that.
Excellent. We shall begin tomorrow.
What?
We shall begin tomorrow!
What do you mean, we?
I intend to sit for it.
It's a poem, not a painting.
Mr. Poe, I am the one paying for the service, therefore I will determine how it is performed. If you have a problem with that, I can dredge another poet out of the city's gutters.
No, I can do it.
If I may, it might be easier to describe your beauty if you were not present.
One question. In this poem, shall I assume the persona of your late husband?
Are you planning on becoming a weak-shouldered slug with terrible body odor? Please, let me show you something, Mr. Poe. Do you know what these are?
They appear to be sabers.
Yes, dueling sabers. And do you know who died defending my honor?
Your husband.
No, he died from something foolish like pneumonia. It has always been my profoundest regret that I did not inspire a man to kill another man for the sake of my honor. I suppose I keep these here in hopes that someday blood will be spilled. It helps me sleep at night.
As well it should.
Do not disappoint me, Mr. Poe. Brinsley, show him out.
Of course, madam. This way, sir.
Mr. Brinsley, might I have a word with the incredibly famous poet?
I would advise against that, Miss Dowling. He seems unnatural and evil.
Right, but I should still like a word with him.
I shall defend your honor in every way I can, even though you are old and there is little hope for you.
In private, Mr. Brinsley.
I believe there's a bit of horse dung on the front stoop.
Very well.
Begone, servant!
Might I add, Mr. Poe, that I too possess a pair of dueling sabers. In the unlikely event that I shall be called upon to defend anyone's honor, I shall return presently.
Go. You're going to write a poem?
You're engaged?
Clearly you've gone insane.
Indeed.
Oh, throw some water on yourself.
That's inadvisable. It would wash my mustache clean off.
How on earth did you even concoct this idiotic scheme?
I have the good fortune to be the real Poe's mailman. When I saw the letter from this address, I couldn't help myself and entreated a Poe to visit the house. Of course, I assumed it was for some such silliness like tutoring, but imagine, $100. We'll be rich. Well, maybe not rich, but much better off than not having $100.
She's hired Poe to write the poem, not you.
But you don't understand. When I put on this mustache and affect the air, it's like I become Poe. I feel his spirit.
He isn't dead.
That's what makes it even more remarkable.
Don't you think you're overdoing it? You're acting like a madman.
Exactly. It's perfect. Have you read his poems? The man's deranged. I'm doing a terrific job of impersonating him.
Richard, stop speaking. You have to get out of here. Do you know who my fiancé is?
I must admit I am troubled by this idea of a fiancé. But true love knows no impediments. My God, it's happening already. True love knows no impediments. Your lips are like peppermints. Amazing.
I am engaged to Rufus Griswold, and he's bound to be here any minute.
Sounds vile.
He is.
Then why are you marrying him?
Could you please silence yourself for a moment and listen? He happens to be Abigail's
Met her, odd girl.
guardian, and he's threatened to do something awful with her if I don't consent to marry you.
Why is he Abigail's guardian?
Griswold somehow managed to become my sister's confidant. When she grew ill, he convinced her to sign over custody before she died.
He sounds like a monster. In my new persona, I shall skew him when he arrives. Poe seems like the sort of man who would slaughter a man in a duel.
Don't, I'll wriggle out of it as soon as she is married, but Rufus knows Poe. He's a literary editor and a poet himself. I'm certain they've crossed paths.
That is a complication.
And she's due here any minute.
Right.
Mr. Rufus Griswold.
Oh, there you are, dear heart.
Sarah,
Please, we're moving so fast it terrifies my soul. Call me Miss Dowling.
Very well. Hello there.
Oh,
Might I introduce Mr. Edgar Allan Poe?
Mr. Poe, I'm sure you remember me.
There seems to be something the matter with him.
He, is violently ill.
Mr. Poe, I'm glad to see you finished your time at the asylum. Perhaps you ought to go see a doctor?
Oh, I'm sure he's perfectly well, just near death.
Most likely withdrawal pains from his opium addiction. Quite sad.
I believe he's trying to communicate. What is it, Mr. Poe?
Miss Dowling, do not get close to him. I'd hate to have you
I'll
infected.
try to help you.
I shall help you.
Mr. Poe, you're...
Do not touch him. You don't know.
Goodbye.
Pathetic.
Might I take your coat, Mr. Griswold?
Certainly.
I believe so, miss.
I shall like a drink.
One moment.
Scotch.
Right away.
We'll get on with it.
Of course.
What was Poe doing here?
My aunt has engaged him to write her a poem.
What?
My aunt has engaged him to write her a poem.
I heard what you said. I just said what?
I know. I thought perhaps the word what meant that you could not hear the perfectly clear thing which I was just saying. Perhaps deafness is catching?
Is your aunt aware that I am also a poet?
I'm certain that she is.
And?
I believe she feels that your skills are not
What?
up to challenge. I believe she feels that your...
I heard you.
Stop saying what! It makes me think that you were incapable of listening properly.
This is madness. Does she not know what he is? Did she not see him?
Again, I believe this is why she hired him.
He's a madman. He's practically a walking cabinet of vomit.
Mr. Griswold.
Please, dear, call me Rufus. Our love demands it.
Mr. Griswold, if you wish to tell my aunt what to do, here is her door.
I simply wish she would have asked me.
It is a love poem.
That is my specialty. Remember the one I wrote to you?
You compared me to a mollusk.
A mollusk is able to sift silt from the sea to produce pure water, just as you sift unpleasantness from the world to create your beautiful smile.
That comparison is as tortured as one of the unfortunates in Mr. Poe's stories.
Tell me it didn't fire your passion.
It didn't fire my passion.
I shall write you another one then.
Please abstain. I don't know how many invertebrates I can be likened to.
Perhaps we shall skip the poetry and go straight away to the kissing?
Perhaps there is time for poetry after all.
Now, I do believe I need kisses to inspire my verse.
Acquire a dog. They'll kiss anything.
I despise any animal that shoves its nose into the rear of another animal.
You will make out well in the comparison, then. Perhaps a subject for your next poem?
Miss Dowling, I enjoy this banter as much as the next poet, but I cannot contain myself much longer.
Please try.
We must set a date for our wedding.
Darling, you know what I think about that. First, I must see my cousin Abigail married. Then we shall have ours.
But you are old.
Quite the charmer, sir.
I mean to say that we must get married straight away.
After my cousin, it would break my heart to see her unmarried at 18.
You're 32.
Sir, if I may, you are very bad at this.
Rufus, I am aware that I am old. I've explained all that. I am terrified by men in general. That is why I am able to be engaged to you. Now please, I am tired and have been exhausted by all this nonsense about kissing and mollusks. I must ask you to leave me.
I just got here.
Yes, and I'm trying very hard to make sure you don't overstay your welcome.
Very well. But you must promise me not to speak to Poe. His very words are poison. Did you not see the man?
Your concern for my ears is touching, Mr. Griswold, but I shall speak to whomever I like.
If I find him here again, I shall be very upset. Very upset indeed.
I shall keep that in mind.
Might I have a kiss now?
No, but I will consent to wave in your general direction.
Very well. Brinsley, my coat. Poe is a man of insatiable appetite, Sarah. Who knows what is lurking inside his brain? What strange passions are at this very moment seizing him in their grip? I shall be very careful if I were you.
Good day, Mr. Griswold.
Good day, Miss Dowling. What was that?
Bats! We keep them in the closet.
Very well. I shall return tomorrow.
Right this way, sir.
Something the matter with ya?
I haven't got all day.
Is he gone?
Yes, he's just left. Are you all right?
Oh, I'm more than all right.
What happened to your face?
Love happened to my face. Oh, please sit down, sir. I must tell you everything. But you must promise not to be shocked by my words.
I'm not sure that I can...
Promise!
Very well, I promise.
Mary, could you leave us, please?
Well, if you don't mind, I'd enjoy hearing your secrets, miss.
You must promise not to tell either.
Well, never speak of it. The Irish are known for their ability to keep secrets.
I'm in love.
That's wonderful.
No, not Henry. I'm afraid that I've done something terribly, terribly wicked. It's Mr. Poe.
What?
Mr. Poe.
Mr. Poe? He's that evil man from the papers.
Oh, he is very much evil. But I can't help myself. He's an animal.
He's not really an animal.
I heard he is.
He's eaten the heart of a goat. And he's a drug addict. That's ridiculous. Neither of you have any...
I have proof. Just moments ago, he seized me in the closet.
Why the closet?
It's very dark in there. Oh, you mustn't blame me. I was overcome.
You are engaged to Henry.
Don't you think I know that? I wrestled with that thought for several moments.
How was it?
You know what I thoroughly enjoyed? His mustache.
I know just what you mean.
Henry is clean shaven. It's like kissing the side of a fish. But with Mr. Poe, there was something carnivorous and bestial about
that's
it.
the best kind, yes.
Like a furious hunger.
Yes. You know what I like? When a man grabs my hair.
Mary,
if you don't mind. We're in America now. People behave properly here.
To be honest, he was rather strange with me. But I feel that must be because of the closeness of the quarters. It was so dark in there with all the coats. I was lucky to have escaped him.
Why were you in the closet in the first place?
It's where Mr. Poe goes to unleash his desires.
The closet.
Oh, what should I do? I know that I cannot love him, and yet...
Remember that Henry is a kind and good-natured soul who would be an excellent match for you.
You think so?
Yes. And Mr. Poe is... He really kissed you in the closet?
Ravenously.
Today?
Only moments ago. One moment, there I was, minding my own business in the closet. And the next thing I knew, he was upon me.
Well, that's how it happens. Any moment they might grab you. You're lucky to have escaped with your virtue intact.
Mr. Henry Whitford is here to see you.
Miss Abigail, if I might, drop him like a rock. Mary, get out. Your advice is awful. I'm only trying to help, miss. I'm beginning to understand why Irish women have 10 or 14 babies apiece. That's because of Irish men. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, I'd hate to have us collide. There might be shenanigans.
I'm here to see Miss Dowling.
Yes, Henry, we know.
You are my angel, and the days have become weeks.
Yes, Henry, I know. You remember Miss Sarah.
Yes. How do you do? You're maintaining yourself well. I wouldn't imagine that you're as old as you are.
Nice to see you again, Mr. Whitford.
Yes.
Are you planning on saying something else?
I'm sorry, I will soon. I just have to remember what I was going to say.
I can't wait. At any moment you may wish to speak.
I'm gathering myself.
Excellent. Gather away.
Perhaps I should leave.
Not at all. We must have a chaperone at all times.
Brinsley is here?
I am a notoriously bad chaperone.
I'm more comfortable with two chaperones, actually. Better to preserve your virtue.
Yes, indeed.
This is quite fun.
It is, yes.
Mr. Whitford, perhaps you would care to engage Miss Dowling in some witty banter?
I should like that. We'll begin.
Abigail?
I hear that it might rain soon.
I have heard no such thing.
That's what I heard.
Who did you hear this from?
I don't recall.
Do you know what sort of rain it's supposed to be?
Wet?
I confess I don't recall the specifics.
This information is useless to me then. Why even bring rain up if you don't know anything important about that rain? Is it a torrent? Is it a sprinkle? I don't know.
I simply heard the word rain, nothing more beyond that.
Nothing more, are you certain?
The weather seems to be too challenging a subject. Perhaps you should talk of love?
There are the people present.
Again, I'm happy to leave. In fact, I would be thrilled to leave.
Not at all. I'm a better conversationalist in groups.
I can't wait for our honeymoon.
Maybe you just need to loosen up. Brinsley, could you fetch him a drink?
It's not going to help, ma'am.
I don't drink, actually. It's not good for my anxiety. I begin to fear for my life.
All right, then.
May I make a comment on your purity?
You must.
I've written it down. Dearest, you are the new fallen slow. Snow. I said slow, I meant snow. I'll start over. Dearest, you are the new fallen slow. Snow! Dearest, you are the new fallen snow. Like the unworked marble, like the calm seas, like the butterfly new hatched from its cocoon, and like the butterfly and the seas, you have floated near to me. And like the marble and the snow, your skin is white and pure, and your skin is and pure. There's more if I may continue.
I think I've got the gist of it, actually.
I'll just leave it here for you to read later.
That's an excellent idea.
Very well. This has been a most beguiling meeting between us. I trust that I have fanned the flames of our love, therefore I will take my leave.
You're off already? My grandmother hasn't even had a chance to talk to you yet.
I don't wish to inflame you too much.
Oh.
Otherwise our passion may consume us.
Oh, yes, most certainly.
And I'd like to keep that bottled up until our wedding night.
Keep writing the notes, then.
If you must.
Is Henry here yet?
Oh, God.
Henry! There you are, my boy. I was wondering what was keeping you.
It is enchanting to see you again, Mrs. Dowling.
Is it?
I'm afraid so, yes.
Are you afraid?
Very much. Yes, I believe I feel sick and need to leave.
Sit.
Grandmother, if he's not feeling well.
Most men don't feel well in the presence of their future wives. It helps them prepare for marriage. Now, Mr. Whitford, I should like to ask you a few questions.
Please.
Please what?
Please, madam.
Please, madam, what?
Ask your question.
I'm already asking it.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
I want to know if I can ask you questions!
You already are.
When is the wedding?
I don't know.
Why not?
Grandmother, if he doesn't wish to set a date.
He doesn't wish to set a date. He doesn't intend to marry you.
I have a note.
What?
I have a note.
Here.
Oh, what in God's name is this?
It's my feelings.
Oh, good God. Feelings? Feelings? You don't need feelings, Mr. Whitford. You need a brain!
Yes, madam.
What?
Yes, madam.
I said what?
Yes.
What?
I said yes.
To what?
To what you said.
What I said!
I don't know.
What is wrong with him?
Mr. Whitford, allow me to make this easier for you. If you do not wish to marry me, I release you from your obligation.
Oh,
No, I
a
do.
little doll, dear, that's all. In a few years, you'll be thankful for a boring husband. The excitable ones end up with diseases.
Nevertheless, if Mr. Whitford is not interested,
I am. I'm sorry. I'll set a date right away.
don't trouble yourself.
Abigail, Mr. Whitford is a fine match.
What has gotten into you?
I'm in love with someone else.
Oh, no.
What?
I'm in love with someone else!
You are, but...
Henry,
Are,
Henry,
but...
what are you going to do about this?
Well, clearly he's not man enough to handle this, so I will. You are a child. You will love whatever I say, and right now I am telling you that you are going to love that!
I am not an object.
Oh, Henry, you aspire to be an object. Sit down and wait.
You just accept that?
I don't love Mr. Whitford!
You can love whoever you wish after Mr. Whitford is dead. He doesn't look especially healthy. It shouldn't take him that long.
I'm not marrying him! Ugh! I'm going to my room to write poetry! Love poetry.
Oh.
could make this a lot easier for a viewer the slightest bit interesting.
I'm trying to be interesting.
Well, it's not working.
You won't get away with this, miss. I will not be hounded. I am not some object for you to lust after. There will be no more shenanigans. Do you hear me?
Not really now.
Just because you were able to snatch me at a moment of weakness, don't believe that...
Are you drunk?
I am most certainly not drunk. And I'll have you know that I pride myself on an upright and moral bearing, and I can think of nothing but you. Shh. No one must know. Meet me again in our usual spot later.
Figures.
Right this way, sir.
I remember everything.
If you would care to take a seat, sir.
You forget yourself, Worm. I do not... Actually, I will sit. Would you mind taking my coat?
Very much so, but I shall do it anyway.
Aha! Mr. Poe.
Yes, Miss Dowling, nice to see you again.
Oh, yes. How nice. I've composed a spot of poetry. Would you be so kind as to read it for me?
I'm afraid I'm only here to write for your grandmother, actually. I must prepare myself to
It
summon
won't
forth.
take but a moment. Read it.
Very well. Miss Dowling,
Is it to your liking?
you must understand I'm not the man you think I am.
Oh, but I think you are the man I think you are. Or at least you were yesterday. But I understand. I may be young, but I'm very learned.
I can tell that from your writing, or at least you have a very vivid imagination.
Perhaps not quite as vivid as yours.
No, looks good. Brinsley, I require Mrs. Dowling.
I believe she is already aware you have arrived, sir.
Do not make me wait. I cannot contain my depraved urges for long.
Oh!
No, I mean...
I was wondering, Mr. Poe, if you could show me that story you told me yesterday. That story you showed me in that place.
That place, I've forgotten the story.
Shall I remind you of it? Takes place in the darkness, a frenzy, wild beasts in the night. And then at the dawn, they return to their civilized states, only to await the darkness yet again.
I've forgotten the story.
Perhaps you left it in the closet. You might wish to check for it later. I know I will. Brinsley, shouldn't you get that?
Probably.
Well, it's pouring rain. Let whoever it is in.
Very well.
At last! I knew I was right about you. I will resist you with all my heart, you blackguard. I will fight you, you hear me? But I am weak and easily confused. I cannot hope to stand against your desires.
Ah, Mr. Whitford, how wonderful of you to return to us.
Oh, dash it all! I have no interest in seeing him. Meet me in our usual spot later.
Could you please let Miss Dowling know I've arrived?
She was. I'm sure she's around here somewhere.
Thank you.
Have you seen Mrs. Dowling?
She has vanished.
She seems to do that often in your presence.
I don't believe we're acquainted. Henry Whitford.
Edgar Allan Poe, the poet and genius.
Oh, I read about you in the paper.
Yes, I seem to have become notorious.
That Raven thing, was that yours?
Yes.
Nevermore.
Yes.
That was a good part. That's all I can remember. Nevermore. Good stuff.
It did repeat itself several times. I found the bird created a sense of despair and madness.
Oh, yes, definitely. Are you here for Miss Sarah?
No, absolutely not. I'm here for her aunt, Mrs. Dowling.
Oh, Mrs. Dowling?
Yes?
That's a bit of a surprise.
She may be old, but she keenly feels the pangs of love.
Truly?
Yes.
That's a little shocking.
And she's paying me quite well.
She pays you?
Oh yes, quite well. It's amazing how much an old woman will pay you for something so simple.
This is a bit shocking.
Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. I assure you, I take no pleasure in this.
I wouldn't imagine you would. To be honest, she reminds me of a rhinoceros. I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend.
No, that's largely how I think of her as well.
And yet, I mean, how does one even... I don't mean to be indelicate here, but with the specimen of that age, how do you inspire yourself? Actually, you don't need to answer that.
No, I'll answer. There's really no preparation that can help. I simply hope to summon it forth.
Really? With your mind?
The mind can do amazing things.
I've never heard of such a thing.
I am a finely tuned instrument, my friend. Yes, when the Poe sets his mind to something, it simply becomes reality.
That's incredible.
At times, I must confess, I wonder if it will be any good.
I have no knowledge of what makes it good or bad.
Oh, I wouldn't think that you would. But I'm hoping she won't be able to tell the difference.
Perhaps at her age, there is no difference.
But I actually haven't begun with Mrs. Dowling yet. We're to have our first session shortly.
I can't believe you're so calm.
When you're as gifted as I am, it's easier to remain calm. She'll sit for me, and we'll see what happens. I hope it will come quickly.
I hope so for your sake. I must confess I know nothing of these things. I'm a babe in the woods. I know nothing of these things. Perhaps you can help me, since you are such an expert.
I am an expert. It's refreshing to speak to someone who really recognizes my gifts.
I am engaged, or rather I was engaged, to Miss Dowling.
Sarah?
No, to Abigail.
Oh, so you're the man.
Has she spoken of me?
In passing, she mentioned she was engaged.
Yesterday she broke it off.
Well, did she give a reason?
She said she was in love with another man. At first I thought it might be you.
Oh, no, I'm only here for her grandmother.
I know. As distasteful as that is, it gives me some relief. Perhaps you can be my ally. What can I do to win her back? Miss Sarah advised against it, but I've written her a poem.
You a poet? I find that laughable.
I don't know. I dabble in poetry.
Listen, poetry is forged in the darkness of your soul. You embrace the madness therein, feel around for the roots of corruption, and then, when the muse speaks, you eject it from you like a
Like a what?
I'm not sure, but I'm certain it's horrible.
Could you just listen to it?
Fine, but I assure you my criticism will be very scathing.
Dearest, your eyes are two fires in the night. Your perfect fingers shine equally bright. Your virtues unassailed and pure. I have no doubt of that, I am sure. You're an angel of the highest order. Flowers happily lend you their odor.
Let me stop you there.
Do you think it'll win her heart?
Impossible. You have to feed this poem. Reach into your soul. Cavort with demons. Demons? Or something like them. Or just throw poetry out the window and go straight to action.
Action?
Yes!
Mr. Rufus Griswold.
Are you alright, Mr. Poe?
I am seized with a sudden, irresistible inspiration.
Mr. Poe, how nice to meet you again so soon. I congratulate you on rousing yourself from a drunken stupor and managing to dress yourself properly.
I would turn around to greet you, Mr. Griswold, but the very sight of you turns my stomach.
Believe me, I'd rather not look upon your miserable face.
Hello, I'm Henry Whitford. I don't believe we're acquainted.
Rufus Griswold, Henry Whitford.
Do not care to meet your latest disciple.
It is Henry, if you care to remember.
I must say you're beginning early today. There must be a great many whores bereft of company this morning.
Mrs. Dowling and I are actually just about to get to it.
And I'm sure it will be filled with many dark and lurid fantasies just like the rest of your work.
If she wishes it so. I simply assume you're jealous she hasn't hired you.
You do this as well?
Of course. Every good man of culture has tried his hand at it. Some with more success than others, and I dare say I'm far more accomplished than this charlatan.
Ha!
Indeed, sir, indeed.
This is most shocking.
Oh, Henry, don't be shocked. Simply because some people show little discrimination in who they hire.
Mr. Poe?
Yes, I am still here. Perhaps you are wondering why I'm facing this direction.
No, I'm not curious about that.
It is because Poe is a juvenile madman and insists on playing these idiotic games.
Exactly, Mr. Griswold. I cannot see your face, and for that I am thankful.
If you were any type of a gentleman, I would run you through with the sword.
Gentlemen, please.
And Miss Dowling, I thought I told you not to speak to this creature.
He is employed here, Mr. Griswold.
Do you know about this too? Are there no secrets in this house?
What is the matter with you, Henry?
He is a little naive about the ways of the world. He assumes I merely work for the pleasure of it.
There's no pleasure to be gained from your work that I've seen. I can assure you.
You've seen it?
Of course I've seen it. Why do you think I despise him so? I've even reviewed it multiple times.
Gentlemen, Mr. Poe, if you don't mind, my aunt would like to begin. She can get quite abrasive if her schedule is not adhered to.
Yes, of course. Once again, it was nice to see you. And I hope to see you again frequently.
I don't think so, Mr. Poe.
Is there something the matter?
Absolutely.
Mr. Griswold, please. I can handle myself. I am a mature woman, as you delight in reminding me. You are here for business, Mr. Poe, not pleasure. I would advise you to keep that in mind while you spend time in this house. As for me, I do not care to be in your presence, not because of an order from my fiancé, but because of your most recent betrayal.
Betrayal?
Yes!
What betrayal?
Don't play stupid with me, it doesn't become you. I know all about your stolen kisses, and I do not appreciate them. Now, if you don't mind, I would like to go check on my cousin and make certain she's safe. There are scoundrels about.
Mr. Poe, a word.
No time. I must go.
Now, I know we've had professional differences, but I see no reason to...
Mr. Poe, I am waiting for you.
Excuse me.
Be careful, Mr. Poe.
That snake.
Clearly, I have been sheltered in my brief life.
Well, no doubt you have.
I'm shocked at Mr. Poe's behaviors. I have heard rumors of his actions, but...
All true, and more than that besides. The man is evil incarnate.
And yet still, Mrs. Dowling has hired him.
She is most likely ignorant of his true nature. He uses sweet phrases and loving looks, but underneath it all lies a macabre mix of nightmare and passion.
Is that perhaps why she has hired him?
Oh, I cannot pretend to know why a woman like that would hire a man like him. I would have done a much better job.
But you were engaged to Miss Sarah.
Well, yes, I had hoped she would recommend me.
Oh. The world is a wicked place indeed. If it weren't for this damnable rain, I'd leave this house right now.
Well, don't trouble yourself overly much. Who knows what makes one woman choose one man over another? They are, by nature, unfathomable. You think they want one thing, but in reality, it is something else entirely.
I feel the same way about my Abigail. I have been nothing but kind and sweet towards her, yet she declares her love for another.
Did she tell you the man's name?
No, for a moment I thought it might be Mr. Poe, but...
Are you certain it isn't Mr. Poe?
Well, he's been hired by the grandmother.
Yes. So, the creature has designs upon every female of the species, and they seem quite powerless before him. In fact, the muscovado is so strong that there are no doubt specimens of various animal species making their way to this house at this very moment.
Really?
If you only knew the depths of his depravity, young man, I believe he already has designs upon my Sarah.
We must warn the women!
Warn them? How? My Sarah's already playing coy.
There must be some way.
Doubtful. I suppose the only thing would be a letter confessing his crimes. If he were to write it in...
Mr. Griswold?
Huh?
You were saying?
Oh, nothing. I just remembered I had something to do.
Sorry to keep you waiting.
I just remembered I needed to do something.
You've only just arrived.
And now I am leaving. Might I have a kiss before I leave?
I think that would be most inappropriate, Mr. Griswold.
Are there to be no kisses then?
There is company here.
He is a child.
All the better for him not to witness our passion.
I'm growing agitated again. Brinsley, fetch me my coat. Will you see me out?
I do not wish to be assaulted once again, Mr. Griswold. You have already shown that you expect kisses from me. I think it's only fair to have Mr. Brinsley as a chaperone. Brinsley!
I will be your chastity belt, Miss Dowling.
Oh, I'm very afraid. Oh, stop being so petrified, Henry. It's only natural that you love living in a house of debauchery and madness. What is... It's a letter. From Abigail. My love, I cannot erase the memory of yesterday from my mind or my lips. It was an entirely wicked thing for you to do to me. In the closet where we... caresses, burning heat of passion, entwined limbs, darkness. I shall be your servant, and depravity, if that is, slavery of lust. I can't even look at it. Is this what she wants, a man who is half devil?
Are you all right?
I am not all right.
My cup is fickle. She will change her tune.
I see.
You look a little pale.
I'm a little concerned.
That's all right. She will be better. You just need to...
I just need to what?
Young women have certain desires.
They do?
Of course they do.
I know nothing of these things.
Mr. Whitford, Henry, you are a little inexperienced.
I'm grossly inexperienced. I know none of this until today.
Well, it's not unusual. It's entirely natural, in fact. You just need to speak a little more. Tell her what's on your mind. Engage her in conversation.
Are you sure that's what she wants?
Of course that's what she wants. She wants to be entertained. She wants to be flattered. Give her some spice.
I don't know.
And don't be so nervous.
But I think the things that she wants are beyond me.
They aren't. Buck up your courage. Become what she wants you to become. What she needs you to become. You mustn't be so worried about everything all the time. You must say, damn it all, and charge forward.
Charge forward?
Yes.
Be what she wants?
Yes.
Very well. Though I'm petrified at the thought of it, and my very nature goes against these suggestions, I will become what she wants me to be.
Excellent. Go to it, then.
I will need time to come up with a new persona.
All right. Then do that.
Thank you, Miss Dowling. I'm in your debt.
Just remember, Henry, these are a young woman's fancies. We grow out of needing them in short order.
Are you ready to begin our session, Mr. Poe?
I must engage my muse.
What?
I must engage my muse! I am Poe. I am Poe. Raven, nevermore.
What?
I'm speaking to myself.
Well, stop.
My dear Mrs. Dowling, I'm an artist and a genius and somewhat of a madman. If I'm to write you a proper love poem, I must unleash the beast within.
The what?
The beast! The damnable beast! They're just words. They're just words. The raven, nevermore.
Do you know why I hired you, Mr. Poe?
Oh, I can't say that I do.
Because I recognized a soul not unlike my own. Well, Mr. Poe, shall we begin?
You're here already.
I'm sorry, you startled me.
You cannot possibly imagine you're going to write this poem, Richard?
I only need something adequate.
And?
And it's impossible! I can't get into character enough to sum the words. I keep going back to a very disturbing day and a half. I've seen things, Sarah. Terrible things. And I do not wish to see them again. I'm hoping desperately to finish this poem before I have to have another session with your aunt.
Oh, she's expecting you.
Don't you think I know that? I just need to focus for 5 more minutes, and I can get this done.
Well, how much do you have so far?
Not nearly enough. And then, when this is over, and I've safely acquired the money, we can be together.
Oh, pish.
It's true.
And what will you do for a living?
Perhaps I shall continue to be Poe. I could arrive at parties, write poems or events. I feel like I'm channeling his living spirit.
Are you to suggest that it was the spirit of Poe that led you to seizing my cousin in the closet?
You have to believe me. I did not kiss your cousin. I don't know where she got that fantastical idea, but I think she might be slightly mad.
She swears to it.
Perhaps she hallucinated it.
She hallucinated someone who looks just like you and embraced her in the closet?
It's possible.
No, it isn't!
Please, keep your voice down. I don't want your aunt to hear.
Well, she's deaf as a stump. I wouldn't worry about it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have the fortitude to face her yet. Allow me to hide in your room while I finish the poem.
You must fix things with my cousin. She's thrown out Henry for you. Or for Poe, or for her hallucination.
Yes, of course, I will.
Is he here?
Who?
You know who, stupid girl, Mr. Poe.
I have not seen Edgar Allan Poe.
Why not?
He's not here.
Well, when he is here, send him in to me immediately.
Of course.
What?
Of course! Always leaving these papers about.
There you are.
Mr. Brinsley.
Please, dear. Call me Rumpert.
Wait. I'm a virtuous lady and I cannot do this.
What?
It's not right.
What?
All right, fine, it is right. Wait!
Please, I cannot think of anything but you.
Can you read?
Of course I can read.
Read this to me then. I can only make out about half the words.
Very well. There I was, sinking feeling, coming forward, kissing, kneeling, beside the keyhole of your chamber door, when at once I saw you slipping, slowly slipping your gown upon the floor, and you stood nude for me once more. This is rather terrible. Your flesh appearing, drooping, great handfuls of white, reaching, wheeling, from your girdle they did pour.
Does no one work here any longer? Very well.
May I take your coat, sir?
Yes, delicately.
The closet is all clean, sir.
Excellent, Mary. Perhaps you could go clean some other closets.
Right away, sir.
Don't go anywhere. Brinsley, I'm shocked at this violation of decency.
Sir, the woman is as chaste as the new fallen snow, the unworked marble.
She is as chaste as my little finger.
Sir?
I mean, I don't mean to impugn my little
Sir,
finger.
as you wish, sir. Mr. Brinsley.
Of course, Mary. And might I say that I will be checking those closets most carefully. And if I find the slightest hint of disorder, we shall be spending quite a lot of time in them together. Quite a lot of time.
I look forward to it.
I believe in being very firm with them, sir.
I am hardly dismayed by your lack of morals.
Sir, I assure you, there was nothing immoral going on. And if there was, it was most assuredly her fault.
I have your letter from Mr. Poe.
How'd you get a letter from Mr. Poe?
I encountered the mailman on the way in, and he entrusted me with it. Deliver it to Miss Dowling.
Of course.
Sarah Dowling.
Right.
Do not read it.
I shan't.
See to it. And tell no one I was here.
I'm done with my work, sir.
Are you?
Everything is clean.
That was quick.
Well, I have a very strong work ethic. Think I missed a spot in this closet, though.
Yes, I do believe you did.
Did I know? Well then, I shall have to scrub it. Hurt. Aunt Helena. All right, go. Where did you leave it?
It's on the table. Oh, damn it!
What?
Where did I leave that thing?
Perhaps the spirit of Poe has made you mad, or at least forgetful.
It was right there.
Perhaps you left it on your person?
Would you care to search me for it? Oh, please, it was an innocent remark. Sarah! Sarah!
Hello?
Sarah, please, it's Henry, let me in. If Abigail sees me in his presence, she'll only fall deeper in love.
Anyone? Is anyone about?
God, is there no privacy in the closet?
Are you in there with...
Again, I appreciate your work, Mary.
Thank you, sir.
If you could deliver this letter to Miss Dowling, I'd be much obliged.
Here, sir.
It is positively bacchanalian in here.
Yes, the ladies of the house seem to be supernaturally disposed to love these days. I'm hoping your presence will put an end to that.
Actually, I am in need of your assistance. Since there was no one to meet me at the door, my character's been left in the rain. I don't need to explain to you that this is the most disturbing event. If you would be so kind to...
Say no more, sir. I too know the terrors of rain.
Dearest, before I proceed with our relationship any further, I must confess to a litany of crimes. If we are to enter into carnal embrace, we must do so with open eyes. Carnal embrace? First, although I purport to be a gentleman, I must confess that my work in poetry is fueled by an unquenchable thirst for opium. At most times you do not see me, you can often find me in some pasha's den smoking great quantities of liquor. I confess its power over me has led me down some terrible paths. I knew it. In short, not only have I seduced a great many single ladies such as yourself, but even married ladies are not beyond my power. I have found that they...
What do you have there?
I don't see how it's any of your business. Have you come to beg for me back?
I do not beg.
Oh, really?
I've come to demand you back.
I see.
There's something you don't know about me, Miss Abigail.
What's that?
I am, in fact, a scoundrel. Quite depraved, actually.
Ha!
I am. I have most recently entered a witch's coven.
What?
A witch's coven. They work on the outskirts of town, sacrificing pigs and so forth.
You entered a witch's coven?
Yes, and we dance nude beneath the moonlight, and engaged in all sorts of things.
You're lying to me.
It's true.
Why haven't you told me any of this before?
I didn't wish to frighten you, but now I must confess my true nature.
Well, what else have you done at this witch's coven?
I'm afraid my tales would freeze your blood and cause you to faint straight away.
Try me.
Well, after the nude dancing, of course, we made great whoops of noise and fornicated with animals.
What?
No! Very smart creatures. There was just good-natured cuddling.
That doesn't sound so terrible.
Well, it was. I'm a very terrifying man, and you do best to stay away from me.
Very well, I accept.
No, but I will pursue you relentlessly.
Mr. Whitford.
Henry.
Mr. Whitford.
Call me Henry. Our love demands it.
Mr. Whitford, I appreciate this display. However, my heart has just now been claimed by another. So, if you don't mind, turn yourself and your witch's coven around and return to town.
It's still raining. You have to understand, it's a very difficult journey.
Oh, you're the same as you ever were.
No, I'm changed by your beauty.
Put a sock in it. If you do not remove yourself this instant, I shall be forced to tell my grandmother, and she is far more frightening than any witch's coven.
I have eaten babies.
You have not?
They were succulent.
Oh, please, you think that's what I want in a man?
I don't know what you want.
Well, I certainly don't want to be the eating goat fornicator!
What on earth is going on out here?
Henry has decided to transform himself into an insufferable fool.
For your love.
Well, I'm sure that's not the case. Henry seems to me to be an extremely masculine man who is ready and able to commit vile acts for the sheer joy of it.
Absolutely, that's what you want, correct?
Why do you please case so strongly? He's a babe in the woods.
As are you, I hope.
I have dreamed things far beyond your imagination.
Oh, I doubt that very much.
I believe I'm feeling sick.
Henry, I am going to my room and you are not invited.
Abigail, listen to reason. He's perfectly acceptable.
Yes.
I don't want perfectly acceptable. I want Mr. Poe.
Mr. Poe?
Yes!
Do you know what sort of man he is?
I do. He's charming and kind and passionate, and he's also a brilliant poet.
She'll come round.
Mr. Poe?
It is a childish fantasy.
But he's just so...
Abigail is deeply confused.
Why him and not me?
Well, you have to understand that there's something quite magnetic about him. He lures women in. I myself...
What?
I have some experience with Mr. Poe as well.
You?
Well, I mean...
Oh my God, what is happening in this house?
There's the man I wanted to see.
You!
Me!
You scoundrel!
I am certain that I'm not a scoundrel.
You're in Miss Sarah's room.
I use it as a study.
Well, certainly nothing inappropriate was
You
occurring
think you
in-
can waltz into this house and seduce every female member of the household?
Henry, relax.
Mr. Poe, perhaps it would help if you explained the situation.
I have nothing to explain. I am merely here to do work for Mrs. Dowling.
And you think that makes it all right?
Yes, I work for hire. Apologies.
I thought I heard your voice.
Will you please tell these people that nothing has occurred between us?
Of course. Nothing has occurred between Mr. Poe and myself.
She's lying.
Abigail!
He's an artist. He's not bound by your morality. Mr. Poe, I trust we will continue our private tutoring later.
What private tutoring?
She's gone insane. The girl's delusional.
Oh.
Did you or did you not tutor her in private?
Absolutely not. Between the work I'm doing for your aunt and the demands of my professional schedule, when would I have time to take on another student?
You would teach her your skills?
I would not, I'm telling you. I have had disciples in the past, but
My God.
you can't even get a hold of yourself. Sir, I believe I may be able to undo this. Might I have a word privately with the boy?
I'll have you know I'm immune to any poison, and any sinister magic you throw at me will fall upon rocky shores. I am resolute in my decency and morality.
Stop it, Henry. Speak away, Mr. Poe. I shall busy myself somewhere else.
Obviously, she is smitten with me, but I have no interest in her whatsoever.
But that's even worse.
Oh, here's your poem.
Excellent. I'm happy to help you win her back. I have a plan. Wait in the closet for her.
The closet? Are you mad?
She's planning a rendezvous in the closet. Wait for her there, kiss her, and she may very well be won back to your side.
This is preposterous.
Go in, you might have a chance.
Now?
Abigail, if nothing is not quick.
Very well, Mr. Poe, but if this does not work, I'll have you to pay for it.
Fine.
What in God's name is this? Slavery of lust? This is your so-called poem to my aunt? This is you channeling Poe? I shall be your servant in depravity? This doesn't even rhyme.
That's not my poem, that's Abigail's letter to me. She must be the one who took my poem.
She wrote this to you?
Yes, I believe so.
So you did kiss her?
No, I did not.
It says so right here. Your fevered embrace. Your tongue entwining with mine? My God, this is like a French poem.
I would like to add that your cousin has a rather filthy imagination. She is a dangerous person. What are you doing?
Get out here!
I am otherwise engaged.
Get down here.
What is it?
Did you write this letter?
Yes, I did.
You ought to have your mind washed out with soap.
I told you about my imagination and you didn't believe it.
Child, if there's one thing you must learn, it is one thing to think depraved thoughts. It is quite another to write them down.
Mr. Poe seems to be doing quite well with it. Did you see the letter he wrote to me?
What?
Here.
What letter? What does it say? Oh no, that's the poem I was writing, not a letter to her.
Mr. Poe!
What?
Is this what passes for your attempt at poetry? It's just words? How hard can it be?
It's a little difficult to compose work when your subject matter is standing right in front of you naked as Eve. Sarah! Sarah! Open the door.
Care for some refuge?
Will you stop? This is not the red light district. Sarah, it's about your aunt. It's about your aunt. I can explain. She removed her clothes. What was I supposed to write about? Your cousin means nothing to me. I don't know what to say.
Bastard! Oh!
Unless you're just saying that.
Oh, shut it!
Clearly, you now believe that you are an artist, and therefore don't have to follow any rules at all. No wonder you so enjoy pretending to be Poe. Women just drop their clothes at your appearance.
They do.
Is that Mr. Poe?
Mr. Poe? Brinsley? Mr. Poe, has there been any progress on the poem? Oh, here we are. Dearest, before I proceed with our relationship any farther, I must confess a litany of crimes. If we are to enter into carnal embrace, we must do so with open eyes. Well then.
Well. Ready for a bit more cleaning? What are you doing in the closet?
Why are you coming into the closet?
Let us never speak of this.
Agreed. I'm going to go back into the closet.
I'm going to another room.
Hello? Hello there? I was at the door, but I couldn't seem to find the bell. I knocked, but no one answered. What manner of place is this?
let the moment go to waste.
Hello.
You startled me.
You are...
Edgar Allan Poe.
Of course you are.
I'm supposed to be here, I think. I received a letter from Miss Helena Dowling.
You did? Wonderful. Might add, you're quite a stylish man.
And who are you?
Brinsley. I am Brinsley. I am the butler here.
Well, if you would be so kind as to let your mistress know that I have arrived.
I cannot do that since she despises you now.
What? I have only just arrived.
Yes.
I have never met her.
Yes, of course, sir, but you see, my mistress is prey to strange moods, and she's enraged, like a water buffalo in heat, and does not wish to be disturbed.
This is madness.
It is indeed, but she...
I will see Mrs. Dowling.
Sir, believe me when I tell you that Mrs. Dowling is the last person you ever wish to see. Have you ever encountered a grizzly bear? She's like that, only much more fearsome. Ah!
What is it now, Mr.
Brinsley, Mr. Brinsley, I'm the butler here. I have to tell you that since you have delusions. Might I introduce Mr. Edgar Allan Poe?
Oh, how nice to meet you, Mr. Poe. It is wonderful of you to grace us with your presence.
Thank you.
And I am...
Mrs. Dowling! You are Mrs. Dowling.
I am?
And you were just telling me how much you despise Edgar Allan Poe. Here he is.
This must be some kind of a misunderstanding.
Yes, I believe there's been quite a bit of misunderstanding. You see, I find your poetry intoxicating.
Amazing. How could I have been so wrong?
It is your dementia, Mr. Brinsley. You've forgotten your dementia once again. It's terribly sad, Mr. Poe. Mr. Brinsley here used to be a competent servant, but lately he has become increasingly ridiculous. We would turn him out into the streets, but he would likely devolve into an ape-like state, and we would discover him naked and frothing at the mouth of the local whorehouse. Isn't that right, Mr. Brinsley?
Oh, you are correct in all things, madam, but might I suggest you finish your conversation in your private chambers, so others might not see him?
I'm fine here in the parlor. I don't wish
Not at all. We do not stand upon ceremony here in this house. In fact, most conversations take place in the female's private chambers. Isn't that right, Mrs. Dowling?
I suppose you are correct, Mr. Brinsley. But I warn you, Mr. Poe, I am a woman of insatiable appetites. Come along.
Chaperone! We do not let Mrs. Dowling speak to anyone without a chaperone. She has an unfortunate tendency to remove her clothing.
Wonderful.
Well, Mr. Brinsley, that was...
Oh God! I'm sorry.
You monster!
I thought you were someone else.
A sheep, perhaps?
What?
I heard what you are.
Oh no! I was lying to Miss Abigail to impress her.
Sure, yeah, that's a likely story. Tell me another one, sheep lover. No, in Ireland we have a name for people like you. Scots!
I have never loved it. Tell her.
Leave me alone!
Can you believe what the monster did? He sees me in the closet.
In the closet? That's where I go to meet my love.
I thought she was you.
You couldn't tell the difference.
It's dark in there. It's hard to see.
You expect me to believe that you can't tell who you're kissing when you're in the closet? Of all the low things you've attempted to stoop to, Mr. Whitford, that is the lowest. Brinsley, please show Mr. Whitford to the door.
Of course.
Hold on one moment. Mary, what were you doing in the closet in the first place?
I think I hear someone calling me.
I was,
She was waiting for her lover. That's what she was doing. She came in like a tornado. She's the one who sees me.
You're expecting perhaps a farm animal?
Have you had other experiences in the closet?
Of course not, miss. I'm a good Christian girl. Maybe once. Or twice. I can't really keep count.
Oh, like you've never done it.
I did do it!
Well, I didn't do it, yeah?
Of course not, you imbecile! You did it with Mr. Poe!
Oh, please.
Leaping into the closet to kiss whoever happens to be waiting in there. You wouldn't know. You've been having secret love with my secret lover!
If there was to be no commission, I could have been told sooner. It was with great difficulty that I roused myself and came to this maddening place.
Yes, of course. I again apologize
There
to
he
my
is now.
mistress.
You ask him.
Did you or did you not kiss this woman in the closet?
Of course not. No, if you'll
It was
excuse me.
Mr. Brinsley who kissed me.
What?
Mr. Brinsley?
Who is this man?
What kind of a man are you? What's going on here?
This is the mention. I can't remember anything.
You can't remember? What about her?
I'm not bound by your laws of sanity.
Who is this
I
man?
cannot bear being questioned by you. Ah! Sir, I have some more opium for you to try.
This way?
Yeah.
He's such an artist. It's thrilling watching him compose his poetry.
My dear, Mr. Poe's a scallywag. You must forget him and remember me.
You've committed identical crimes.
Wonderful. We're equal then.
Oh, so I'm a crime now, am I? You know, it's an actual crime. Love and cheat.
You and him are hardly equal, Mr. Whitmer.
You stay away from me.
Trust me, had I known it was you, I would not have kissed you.
Next time, I'll wear a fur coat.
You went in the closet.
Well, I'm happy in here. Don't you go getting any ideas. I'll have you know, I'm waiting for someone else.
That didn't turn out how I wanted. Mr. Poe, if you have a moment, I think that I must discuss.
I know my message may appear strange, but I assure you, my madness is effective. All that is left now is begging. Go to it. Right this way, sir.
Of course. Have you noticed there's a certain strangeness in the air here?
Absolutely.
It's calling to me.
What's Mr. Poe going to get here?
I heard something.
Nevermore.
I heard it again.
Where's Mr. Poe?
Oh, it's like an angel.
Nevermore, nevermore.
Mr. Rufus Griswold.
Rufus.
No! You must understand me. Terrible things are about to occur. Your nightmares, they're coming to life. Ah! Do you hear that heart beating?
I hear it.
You have to hide now! Henry! You have to listen to me. Mrs. Dowling has told me she intends to disembowel you.
Why?
Doesn't matter, hide! Ignore the sounds you're about to hear.
Oh God, is it set to begin?
Close your eyes! You do not want to see what's about to happen. Mrs. Dowling, I've forgotten something.
I'm not letting you in.
It's not for me, it's for our other guest.
Other guests?
Get out.
All right.
Is that Mr. Poe?
Mr. Poe? Edgar? Mr. Poe, I've digested the beginning of your poem and I wish to speak with you. What precisely are you doing down there, Mr. Whitford?
Oh God.
Get up!
Yes, madam.
There's something quite not right about you.
I agree. If you just let me be, I'll find Mr. Poe. I believe he went outside. I'll just be a moment. If you just let.
Just what kind of a girl do you think I am? Oh, yeah, you'd like that, wouldn't you? Just keep me.
What were you doing in the closet, girl?
It was dirty, man. Very, very dirty.
Damn it, girl, speak up!
It was dirty! Very dirty! Dirty things in the closet!
You are are much too Irish for my tastes. Go find something useful to do.
Of course, madame.
Mr. Rufus Griswold.
Miss Dowling, how nice to see you up and about.
And where would you have me, Mr. Griswold, infirm and lying in bed?
Not at all. As always, you're as healthy as an ox. Brinsley, my coat.
If you've come for a job, Mr. Griswold, you needn't concern yourself. I don't think much for your talent or your skills. You are second-rate at best. Henry! Did you find Mr. Poe? It's time to get to work.
I shall look for him, grandmother.
Good. Now why do you think about like a fox? Stand up straight.
You would assist with his business?
If you don't mind, I shall call upon Miss Sarah.
Oh, but I do mind, Mr. Griswold. And you shall wait right here. This is not a brothel, Mr. Griswold. We do not sneak into other people's rooms to declare our undying love. Any love you wish to declare can be done in my presence. Do you understand? Sarah, your betrothed is here looking sheepish!
Mr. Griswold, how kind of you to drop in on such a miserable day.
It is not miserable when I am in your presence.
Well, it's still fairly miserable for the rest of us.
I believe that we need to keep things cool, Mr. Griswold. I've seen quite a lot of you in the past few days. It disturbs the happiness of the household. Ah, there you are, Mr. Poe.
I forgot my coat. I'm sorry, I'm having an attack of darkness.
That is my coat, sir.
I shall return it to you shortly. I'm very sensitive to light at the moment.
Sir, use your own coat if you must. I will not have your diseases infect.
Too late.
Mr. Poe, are you ready for our session?
I admit I'm feeling a bit under the weather at the moment.
If you wish to receive your money, you will come with me now.
I believe I feel sick as well.
I mean, if you wish to have me in my weakened state,
Quit your babbling and come with me.
perhaps we shall stay out here for the delight and instruction of the general public.
What? Mr. Poe, we shall meet in my chamber immediately. I will brook no excuse.
Well, perhaps we could stay out here.
Now!
Yes, of course.
Would you
Your
get
presence is not just my standard.
Remove yourself from the closet.
You're not my mother, and I'm sure that it was Mr. Poe this time.
Yes, it was. You assaulted him in the closet.
He liked it.
I'm sure no one has assaulted anyone in the closet.
You're simply jealous because you're in love with Mr. Poe and he prefers me.
It's true. I've seen it.
Henry!
She's in love with Poe too.
I thought I told you.
You needn't worry, Mr. Griswold. I've removed the obstacle from both of you. Mr. Poe shall marry me.
You forget yourself, girl. You are my ward and shall do as I say. Mr. Poe shall marry no one.
Now wait a minute.
And another thing, if my grandmother assents to it, I won't need your permission in any event. She's bound to see our true love.
It is me too.
Bound to see our true love and agree to the match. And then I shan't have to deal with you any longer.
You go ahead and try it, girl. I'm putting my foot down.
Stop! Don't any of you people know who Mr. Poe is? I mean, who he really is?
Who is he?
He's a prostitute. Oh, God.
Better than being a sheep lover. Henry, you are obviously deeply confused.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
The man has lost his mind.
I have not. At this very moment, unspeakable acts are happening behind that door.
That's ridiculous. He's writing a poem.
No, he isn't. He is satisfying her obscene desires.
Henry, dear Henry, you are not a smart person. I confess that I have some affection for you, but really it's difficult to talk to you for any extended period of time. Mr. Poe is a poet. He is writing a poem. That is his work.
No.
Shall I prove it to you?
Don't open that door. I beg you, please do not open that door.
This is absurd. The man may be an inveterate scoundrel, but he is no prostitute.
My grandmother would never do so.
To think that Mrs. Dowling would...
Lover.
I can explain.
You are exposed, sir. You have offended all the ladies present, and I shall defend their honor.
Henry, this is absurd. I can explain everything.
Choose your weapon.
No. Henry, stop that before you hurt someone.
I too will defend my fiance's honor. Wait a minute. You look different.
Your mustache.
I have shaved it. It has worked quite a few changes upon my appearance.
But only moments ago.
Obviously, we're trying to hide your reign of shameful acts. We're not saving you, Mr. Poe.
Yes, I'm glad you recognize me, Mr. Griswold.
Stop trying to change the subject. Prepare to pay for your transgressions.
Well, now you both have swords and I have none. You were too slow to pick up a weapon. This is distinctly unfair.
Defend yourself.
How?
He's right. I am a man of honor. Mr. Griswold, give him your sword.
No, I'm not a man of honor and will happily skewer him for his offenses.
I will not stab an unarmed man.
Give him your sword then.
No, I picked mine first.
Wait! I may have some extra swords.
Yeah, you do.
What?
Go get them.
Right away, sir.
You have to believe me. Whatever you imagine was happening in that room.
With my own aunt.
She started it. I was all set to write a very chaste poem.
You don't know the meaning of the word chaste.
And you don't know the meaning of most words, sir, and I do not believe I was talking to you.
Yes, you were speaking with my fiancée.
I cannot help it if she prefers my company to yours. You are worse swordsman than you are a poet.
I've had enough of you, Poe.
And we've all had more than enough from you, sir. So, if you don't mind, stretch or do whatever you think will help you in a duel, and remain silent. Miss Dowling, I can explain all of this.
You will explain with my sword in your ass.
Yes! Time to get to the action. We've been standing around waiting forever. As near as I can tell, getting to the action isn't particularly difficult for you.
All right! This is all I could scare up.
Do you imagine we're going to be fighting a war? Right?
Not England! No, I'm not interested in any of this! Edward Iron Love! It doesn't concern me that he appears to embrace nearly every woman in this house. He's an artist. It's what artists do. I can never be upset with a toad for causing works. It's his nature.
I didn't actually...
Silence, my love. Though after our bloody escape tonight, we may be fugitives for the rest of our brief lives. At least we'll be together.
This is the most unladylike behavior.
Finally, I'm armed!
Excellent.
What are you doing?
I'm defending your honor.
I'm defending my honor.
You can't defend your honor. You're a woman. That's about enough of that.
You've done it. Kiss me.
No! Will you stop?
Did you see that? That was pretty cool. Please.
I feel like I should be attacking someone. But I'm not quite sure who. Him!
Defend your own honor.
I suppose that's a good enough reason.
Sweetheart.
You go, girl.
Dearest!
Sirs?
Sister Gladness and wife!
Sarah, explain yourself.
Well, it seems that Mr. Poe has affronted a number of persons here, so most of us were trying to stab him.
Mrs. Dowling, if I may.
Did I ask you to speak?
No?
Then don't. All of you. I know this may be very hard for you to believe, but I have actual blood pumping through my veins. As is Mr. Poe. He was not, as you insist, offending my honor.
But...
If you speak one more word, Mr. Griswold, I will stab you myself. I am 62 years old. My husband is dead. I am independent and I have my own fortune. I have not the slightest care what you think of me or my actions. If Mr. Poe and I care to engage in our love, that is our business and none of yours!
I beg your pardon.
See? Edgar. I had a feeling this might transpire. You see, I sometimes have this sort of effect on men. But I didn't truly believe it until I read your poem to me this afternoon. I admit I was a little shocked by its contents, but when one hears the rapidly approaching footsteps of the reaper, it is advised not to beat around the bush. Dearest, before I proceed with our relationship any farther, I must confess to a litany of crimes. If we are to enter into carnal embrace, we must do so with open eyes.
What? Grandmother, I must say this. Mr. Poe wrote that letter to me.
What? Not at all. It was meant for me.
It wasn't intended for either of you. It was intended for Sarah.
And how would you know that, Mr. Griswold?
I encountered the mailman on the way in, and he entrusted me with it.
Let me see this so-called letter. You say this was mail? Not so, my friends. There are no abrasions, no scuff marks, no creases of any kind. No, this letter is pristine. Oh, the letter carrier has never handled this. No, the man who put this in your hand was the writer.
I admit it. I wrote the letter. But the poem...
So where's my poem?
And who is my poem?
Perhaps I should read my poem.
Is everyone in this house a poet? Can none of you find employment?
Mr. Griswold, your time here is finished. I do not know why my late daughter entrusted Abigail in your care, but it is obvious to me that you are an unfit guardian, and I release you from his charge, dear.
Oh, thank you.
Now remove yourself before I have Brinsley toss you out.
Very well. Miss Sarah, might I have a kiss before I leave?
Well done.
I told you I could break the engagement when I wished.
So it appears, Mr. Poe, that you did not have a feverish and impassioned desire for me.
That is correct.
Pity. I have heard I am quite a lot of fun.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
And you didn't have a feverish and impassioned desire for me either?
I'm afraid not, miss.
Well, that does make me feel a little better.
Oh, Henry, I'm so sorry. Will you ever forgive me?
Of course.
So, you don't love sheep?
Not even a little.
Good then. Mr. Poe, don't you have something to confess as well?
Well, I've had the most amazing dream. Oh, it's still going on.
Miss Sarah!
I'll know who the real troll up is.
And you pass judgment on me.
This is most objectionable. What, sir, were you doing in that room in such a state?
I have no idea. I feel strange. There were voices, and then I was buried alive.
Mr. Poe, wouldn't you care to clear this up?
Now, one moment. Brinsley, find out who this man really is.
Sorry, madam. And your name, sir?
Edgar Allan Poe, I believe.
Edgar Allan Poe?
Who let this deranged man in? Obviously I'm Edgar Allan Poe.
What? I am Edgar Allan Poe.
Then who am I? Oh, the madness is coming for me once again. The nightmares, they're coming to life.
Me, sir, I am who I say I am.
Wait! I believe I finally understand this. There are two Edgar Allan Poes. One who lives by day and one who lives by night. This explains everything.
No, it doesn't.
My love, that makes no sense at all.
Dash it all. I thought I had.
Wait a minute. I do recognize you. You're my mailman.
No, you are my mailman.
I am? Am I?
It's like looking into a mirror.
Richard, enough!
All right. I'm not Edgar Allan Poe.
Whoa, you almost had me convinced there. That's a very good impersonation of me.
Then what were you doing in her room?
I know! My sister, overcome with
Stop! Stop your filthy mind. He fainted, and I dragged him into her room. This is all my fault. My real name is Richard Muffinbridge. I'm his mailman. I concocted the scheme to come to the house in order to convince Sarah that my love was true. And was all ready to convince her to elope with me. But then when you offered me the sum of money for the poem, I thought I could earn the money and win your respect in the process.
Oh, that's lovely.
No, it's not. You pretended to be a man you weren't, and then you witnessed me, and you wrote no poem.
I did write the poem.
Well, I haven't seen it.
Well, I have a real poem right here.
If I may, I have a lot of experience removing things from Mary's bodice.
Keeping it warm for ya.
There I was, sinking, feeling, coming forward, kissing, kneeling, against the keyhole of your chamber door, when at once I saw you, slipping, slowly slipping your gown upon the floor. And you stood nude for me once more, your flesh appearing, drooping, stealing. Great handfuls of white, reaching, wheeling, from your girdle. They did pull.
Please stop.
I believe I may have nightmares now.
I wouldn't pay a penny for that awful, but I appreciate the effort.
Thank you.
You may become our mailman.
What?
Well, I'm certainly not going to have a man like you marry my niece.
Aunt Helena, I'm 32 years old, and I should like to marry Richard. You don't need any money. We'll survive off of our wits.
You'll certainly starve.
If I may I propose a solution? You commissioned a poem to be written. I shall write such a poem, and in return, you will allow this man to marry her. I've always believed in true love.
I know, and Mr. Poe.
Very well. We shall begin our session at once.
Session?
I intend to sit for.
Very well.
Good luck, Mr. Poe.
I would like some more opium, though.
Oh, you're going to need it.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Henry. Will you ever forgive me?
Of course. And will you forgive me for being so dull?
Almost certainly.
That's good enough for me.
Well, will you marry me?
Will you promise never to write any more poetry?
I won't even try.
Very well, then.
I hate to break up this happy occasion, but Miss O'Donnell, that closet is filthy.
Oh, yes.
I do believe it's time for you to get back to work.
Indeed it is, sir.
Thank you.